Well, violence inside ourselves is, it says a lot. It says a lot about me. It says a lot about myself. It says a lot about the world. It says a lot, and you have to kind of find your way through it. Sometimes when the intensity is, when you've disrespected yourself so much, and you've repressed that energy, the energy that wants to respond to your self-deprecation, you experience it as a form of fever, anger, violence, because you've tolerated things that are unacceptable. When you don't have a sense of clarity, that just, sometimes it erupts at the wrong people, at the wrong time, in the wrong circumstances. People will judge. It's for you to understand yourself. Fuck people. It's for you to understand yourself and what's happening to you. Then you got to learn how to navigate more appropriately through those energies. But that energy is there to show you something's wrong in who you are, how you're living, how you're interacting with the world. Something is out of alignment and there's a lack of integrity. That's what it has always been for me, that energy. At first, when it came out, it's just like very feverish, like a child. You're just upset, but you don't know why you're upset. Like a kid. The child doesn't understand this is a toy. The toy belongs to that person. That person, you took the toy. Now the person's taking it. It doesn't understand context because its brain is limited to a few variables. So it responds with anger because the child feels cheated. Somebody wronged the child. And responds with anger, doesn't even know what he's angry about, really. It was the toy, I don't know anymore. It's just now it's just angry. It's taken over. This is very immature. I don't want to talk about emotional intelligence, but in a way it's a form of immaturity. You don't understand what's happening to you. When you start having interest in discovering who you are and how the energies function inside of you, you start to understand, I'm upset. Yeah, I'm upset. You know why? Because I tolerated this, and that. And it obliges you to re-examine those dynamics and those relationships. Because it's very easy to say, well, if I don't like this, I could just leave. Yeah, but that's not how life really works. At the surface, you could pretend it's like that. But at a deeper level and at a psychic level, it's not at all like that. Every relationship is based on a contract, energetic contract, sometimes a written contract, and those contracts cannot just be broken because you choose that they're broken. In order for a contract to be absolved, each party needs to receive what they have signed up for. But you don't even know that there's a contract. But you feel that something's wrong in the contract, or you feel that you're being cheated in the contract, or you feel that you've outgrown the contract, but you're stuck. So already, that energy, if you feel that there's a rush in you, and like I feel something's out of balance, and if you have a little bit of maturity and a little bit of intelligence, and if perhaps you're guided, you'll start to see, well, what's creating that pressure. This, that. And then you have no choice. Well, you have a choice. You could just you could just not do that. But you can also now start to understand dynamics. Okay, well, why am I in such a position? Well, there's a contract. And that was the original exchange. We agreed to enter into contract based on this kind of exchange. I've outgrown this and I no longer need apples. But here I am still providing oranges. Yet I don't receive anything and I'm fucking annoyed. But I didn't know 5 minutes I was annoyed because I was pretending that we had a harmonious relationship. It was pleasant. And now I'm like, no, fuck you. I don't want your apples, or your apples that you're giving me are shit. I don't want those apples anymore. Technically, I've grown my own apples and I'm still giving you oranges and you haven't updated the contract and I'm sick of this and I want something else. So is your so-called anger evil? No, zero. It's a response from your system that is intelligent, trying to point towards something. Now, if you don't understand what it's pointing at, that's on you. That's why you have a brain. If you don't understand what's happening to you, that's on you. It's not the fault of the so-called anger. And now, if now that energy rushes and instead of finding a solution, you decide to murder the person, well, that's improper behavior. Because why? You entered the contract. If the contract doesn't work, you should renegotiate the contract or find a way to get out of the contract. Is it really worth killing a person? Clearly, it's blown out of proportion. You lost control, or the pressure is too steep, or maybe you got screwed so badly that you just like, I gotta, right? But it's not recommended. But is it the anger's fault? If the anger is an intelligent response due to something that's out of balance, So if it's so out of balance, well, there you may do things that are very out of balance. Our worldly society will judge and say this is evil. They will put you to jail because society has its code of conduct. Each society has its different code of conduct and law, right? But technically, if you go to the jungle and you step on, like there's a bear, mama bear, little cub is here and I pass there. That's it, you're fucked. Mama bear sees you as now in the way and she's scared and she wants to kill you. Is it rational? Does it make sense? Can you negotiate? Is she doing something bad? It's just her instinct. And then she would attack you. Maybe you run away, maybe she eats you, I don't know, right? And then if it was society, they'd put the bear in jail. But what did the bear do? It just responded to what it considered to be a threat. So what I'm trying to say is that we have a tendency to judge energies because these energies are, in our modern day, very out of balance. Okay? Our systems, our human bodies, and our minds are so squeezed that when these energies come and circulate, they come extremely irritated, over the top. Instead of it just being this much, it's like that plus, 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 plus. So its response isn't crazy. But it's not the energy that is wrong. It's the repression. It's the squeezedness. It's that there's so many other things that are inside of you totally repressed. So when that energy passes, it just blew up. It like blew a fuse. It's not anger that is bad. Anger is there to tell you something is not in harmony anymore and I'm tired of being stepped on. You may be the one stepping on your own self, that, by the way, also. So that's how I approach things. But in order for me to say that to you, it's because I had to discover those energies inside of me. It's like everybody else, you sit down, some people are angry. But what are you angry of? I don't even know. The world is fucked up. I'm being cheated. I'm doing this. Yeah, great. That's a good point. Yeah, you're being cheated. The government is screwing you. Yeah, so you feel anger. Yeah, it's normal because it's telling you something's wrong. Now you need to find a solution. You cannot stay in that. The energy of anger is not there to stay. It's there to make you find a solution. Anger doesn't find a solution. It's like an animal. Your brain is supposed to find a solution, but if you're an idiot, your brain cannot find any solution. Your brain cannot even assess the problem to even conceive of the solution. So therefore, what does anger do? If you don't solve the problem, anger doesn't stop. If you don't say to anger, which is like an animal, it's like a wolf, say, I got it. I'm going to don't bite, chill, have a cookie, I'm on it. I'll solve the problem. Okay. But if you're not able to find a solution, then it's never going to stop. Because its natural response is to protect you. It's an instinctual response to protect you from an oppressor. It's to protect you from what's not good for you. So there we have all this movement of you shouldn't be angry and shouldn't this. No, it's not, I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, but here you go, demonizing an energy that nature has put in you to protect you and to ensure your own survival. How easy. So anyways, in your self-exploration, when you discover those energies and you get to, well, first of all, you can be totally intoxicated with anger. It's so intoxicating, you can take a whole space and you feel like a god. So you may love this and want to be on that all the time because you feel you can conquer the world. And if you have a little bit of intelligence, then in a way you can. That's like Mike Tyson. Yeah, but who wants to be a slave of anger? Who wants the lifestyle that anger generates? Who wants to be enemy with everyone? I wouldn't want to live like this. Anyways, so it's a good servant. It's not to be the master. That's all I'm trying to say. So how do you get to discover those energies unless you take the time to discover them? And you can't discover them if from the moment they appear, and they will appear, you say this is evil. And you want to brush it off. Or you don't have the resilience or the fortitude to stay with that intensity because it's intense. And let's not forget where we come from, generations and generations of enslavement and repression. So when it starts to express itself, it's intense. And it has over thousands of generations found perverted ways to express itself, which you now are also subject to and witness. You're like, wow, that's a mess. So many subtle ways. So yeah, but that's your mess. Doesn't matter that you were repressed for 1 billion years. This is irrelevant. This is your fucking problem. And I don't see how you're going to solve it by pretending that that's not there. And I don't see how you're going to solve it by always putting cold water on it. And I don't see how you're going to solve it if that's the very thing that tells you something's wrong. And it also can tell you the extent to which something's wrong. Because if it's a little, it shows you a little bit something's wrong. And if it's super intense, that means there's something existentially wrong. Am I almost exaggerating? But it's like, this is absurd. But in order to resolve the problem, you have to have other parts of your brain, other parts of your nervous system functional. So if anger is always on, you don't think, because the anger doesn't think. It's not made to think. It's fever. Fever doesn't think. It's a response. So if you're always on, you never learn to think. You never learn to assess a problem. You never learn to understand problems. You never learn to create solutions. You never learn to apply solutions. You never learn to follow through on solutions. So you never know how to solve problems. So that's being possessed by anger. Is something wrong with the anger? No, but if it's always in charge, nothing else gets developed, so you cannot solve its problem in the first place. That's all I gotta say. And some people, they go hide in a pseudo-intellect where they're so intelligent and you understand everything with their minds, right? In order to numb all human sensation, all experiences at the human level, desire, anger, all those things. They want to make that disappear and hide it in a pseudo-intellect. And then they look at their intellect. It's guided by what? What's it solving as a problem? I don't understand. You're doing mathematics and you're like lost in a theorem that no one on earth cares for or understands. Neither do you. So what's the point? What the fuck are you doing? What's the intellect for if it's not to solve actual problems? Real problems. Not problems that don't exist that you invent to entertain yourself? To prove to the world that you're smarter than everybody else, but nobody knows what you're doing? Come on, get the fuck out of here. The intellect is there to solve actual problems. And the actual problems are communicated via those primal instincts.